Well, welcome back, everyone. We had plans to go up to the cabin and start doing the floor insulation and the subfloor, but it rained for a couple of days, and we were lucky enough to be able to work through that rain and have some spots of nice weather. But once we got up there to the cabin, we just decided that it was too risky to put the insulation foam board in with the puddles of water that were inside of the joist. So we postponed it for 2 weeks later to go up and start with a clean slate and get stuff done. While we were up there, we unloaded the foam board and we put it underneath of a tarp to protect it from weather until we could get back up there and get it installed. Because that would be too easy. With the rain that we've been having on the East Coast, this was 10 days after the last few clips that you've seen before we were able to get it back up to the land. The rain was very heavy and it started to cause some issues with the wood because a few of our pieces started to bow. I was planing a few of these joists just to make sure that they were flush for when we put the subfloor on. Right now, cutting the foam board insulation and putting it in there. Looks like it's wanting to rain again, but we're just doing as much as we can. Put some spray foam in the gaps and seal everything up. My friend George is just scoring the foam board here, but as fate would have it, it was starting to rain again. This was about the 5th day in a row that we had been up at the land that it was calling for storms. All right, we're about halfway through the foam board. It just poured down rain for about half an hour. This weather that we have had has put things so far behind. It's supposed to be nice this weekend, so we're going to come up here and put in 2 full days worth of work. This is crazy. Let me know in the comments if it's been raining like this where you guys live. We got all of the foam board cut and placed down inside the joists
I went in with the spray foam and kind of went a little crazy with it, but filled in all around the foam board just to make sure all the gaps were sealed up. And right now we are going to try to get the Advantech subfloor done today before we leave. So that's next.
Well, unfortunately, what has become a common theme during this cabin build, as you can see in the background in front of me, the sky looks like it's getting dark, and of course, severe storms were rolling in. So, about 5 minutes after we started to place this first piece of Advantech, we had to pack up everything and leave and come back 2 days later, and that's where the video will start in the next clip. This was the third day of attempting to get the subfloor and the wall framing started, and thankfully it was a gorgeous day. After a few hours, we finally got the subfloor completely laid and finished, and now it was time to start the wall framing.
Two by sixes for the wall framing.
It was nice to have Nathan and Mike up here again for an extra set of hands, if you remember them from the concrete pouring video. Getting all of the studs laid out for the wall framing so that we can start nailing everything together to get this wall stood up. You'll notice in most of these clips that the window here looked like it was higher off the ground than the others, and that was because I decided to change it and didn't like the height of it, so we put it at 3 foot off of the ground like the others. Getting ready to stand the first wall up. This is extremely exciting. First wall up. Now on to the next. It was 95 degrees at the peak of the heat today, but we made sure we took breaks and hydrated, and we continued to push through. It was nice to have the extra set of hands to help George and I with standing these walls up, especially trying to do this type of work in the extreme heat, so it made a huge difference. Apparently, during all of this, my microphone that is connected to the camera ended up dying, and I didn't know it while filming. So anyways, what we're doing here is just making sure the wall that we framed and put up is level, and now we're securing it so that we can leave for the day. And this is the finished walls, and I'm extremely excited that we got to this step, and the very next day we were going to start the last 2 walls. I'm not sure why, but the volume on this video is crackling and you can't really understand what I'm saying, so I'll do a voiceover. Anyways, we got the subfloor done today and 2 of the walls framed and up, so tomorrow when we come back, we are going to finish the last 2 walls.
Ready? Fire! Set!
The 3rd wall was now up, and as you can see, the big opening space for the window on this wall, it will actually be a double window. For good measure, I just had to test out the new front door of the cabin. And finally, all 4 walls were now framed and up. I cannot tell you how exciting this day was for me. From seeing this go from a design on paper to start to come to life is just a feeling that you can't really explain until you experience it. The very last part of the cabin build for the day was putting the headers on top of the wall frames.
In that area.
I decided to plant some fir trees so that in a few years my kids would have their very own Christmas trees to cut down.